Okay, so let's move on to the next familiar mode that's been returning since Mario Party 5, but instead of calling it minigame Decathlon, it's now called it Decathlon Park. Win 10 minigame events to be crowned the Decathlon champ. So yeah, let's hop right in. So even then though, hopefully we're able to actually play some of these minigames again, but obviously if you remember from the likes of Mario Party 5, much like the forms of that game, that you're able to play 10 selections of minigames, and it's all scored-based. And as a result, this could be fun. Especially noticeable that we've already experienced Decathlon before, so hopefully we'll do that again, except with Mario Party 6 minigames. So, of course it always starts off as Smash Dance, and I believe all the way up to Stamped by Me. So because of that though, those are the only minigames we can able to go through chronologically. So, of course there are some other minigames as well, like, for instance, we got, What Goes Up, in this case the daytime version, as well as Circus Maximus, and even especially noticeable with, any other minigames that I, forgot able to mention, just because it's been about a week ago since I actually last touched this. Clearly it's because of the fact that, well, I was being busy playing some of these other Switch games recently. And speaking of the Switch games actually, it's the fact that recently, remember how yesterday, about the fact that some Toys Else has already mentioned about, recently, yesterday, is the fact that the Mario Party Superstars did recently came out yesterday for the Nintendo Switch. Now, I can definitely see why that, well, most people found Mario Party Superstars to be a better game of the two when it comes to Mario Party games on the Nintendo Switch so far, which is very understandable because they bring back from the Mario Party's past for several minigames and also most of these boards from the N64 era. But, yeah, I appreciate about that. Speaking of What Goes Up, I think we should probably look on the instructions about the daytime version of that particular minigame, because we already read through the nighttime version. So, jump on Koopa Paratroopers to reach beneath breathtaking heights. Whoever reaches the highest altitude wins. So yeah, it's kind of like, you know, what goes down, except now we are actually going up. So, and in fact, this is the minigame I was talking about, and that was the fact that, speaking of, you know, Mario Party Superstars, is the fact that this variation does make a return for the sake of the forms of Mario Party Superstars. So, something's worth noting for, and, yeah, that's as far as I can say about it. So, either way, though, and, for we've played, Mario Party Superstars on our own time, especially noticeable that we've been dying to able to actually play that game now, on the Nintendo Switch, and I'm gonna say, I was very impressed about that, which I'm expecting for this such, because even then though, it's been 4 years since the previous Mario Party compilation game, and that is of course Mario Party The Top 100 for the Nintendo 3DS. Despite the fact that usually the amount of content in that game is pretty bare bones, but at least I was expecting that it'll bring a lot more content in well, Mario Party Superstars after all, so either way though, we expect this much, so anyways, the next minigame here is Circus Maximus, but we've already played this before, so hopefully it's now going to be time-based. And also there's another minigame that we do need to do in, well, Decathlon Park, and that is like Snow World, and also say it applies to Pokey Punch-Out, and Sunday Drivers, and also some others as well that I forgot about, honestly, just because I know he has been, you know, quite a few days since I actually did manage to get back into this though, especially after dealing with, you know, Treetop Bingo, and also Mount Duel, or anything else like that. So either way though, that's as far as I can usually expect. And I believe if I recall correctly, it's the fact that much like the forms of in Mario Party 5, this is originally, I originally did done this back in, actually kind of thinking about it, I think Mickey Mouse technically did this as in the first attempt of this video back in 2011, but somehow the video quality is really bad, and also commentary is really horrendous as well. And as a result, we figure I'm also able to do this again. but thankfully the quality is a little bit more top-notch than before. And also because of how the fact that the original video of this is actually removed. So, speaking of Snow World, it is right here. Although, potentially, if we're gonna be hit onto the forms of Decathlon mode in Mario Party 7, that they managed able to start to introduce into ourselves some bit of a shuffleware selections of mini-games that it's all pretty much randomized each time whenever you're able to replay through, you know, Decathlon, Castle, and stuff like that in Mario Party 7, so... Oh, this is kind of tricky, but regardless of such, I think I did that decently. Not the best, but because I'm still used to with the top 100 version of this minigame though, because of obviously with the actual 4 buttons is actually kind of spaced out a little bit. But oh well, no big deal. Oh yeah, another thing is worth noting for is the fact that tomorrow will be the Halloween day tomorrow, so because of that though, yeah, expecting to able to actually make things a little bit more spooky themed. And also during around that time is the fact that Luigi's Mansion 3, that game will be 2 years old until tomorrow, which I can't even believe time itself is when flying still, especially noticeable about the fact that, well, usually whatever win days is managed able to go, you know, quite fast, and especially noticeable how the fact that if we do something like, you know, playing some video games from time to time, and also watching some films from time to time, then obviously the time itself is when zoom in fast. But anyway, if you couldn't tell already that my points account or my points amount doesn't go exactly according to plan, well, that's only because I haven't really gone the best at it when it comes to Decathlon Park, unlike its predecessor, Mario Party 5. But I will try my best if I was gonna able to try to beat my score. But if not, then it's just for a coincidence for able to show this off anyway, so... Oh yeah, this is a minigame I was going to be mentioning, and that was the forms of Note to Self. And because of that, and eventually we'll move on to, well, you know, I think it's like Pokey Punch-Out, and also Sunday Drivers, Throw Me a Bone, and eventually Hyper Sniper, and the final one is obviously Stamped by Me. So even then, these are the only 10 minigames we can play through, so because of that though, it might be a bit shorter, just like in the forms of how it does it in Mario Party 5 variation of Decathlon mode. But aside from all that stuff though, this is a really good mode. Especially noticeable that I'm very glad that this Decathlon mode makes this a comeback after the events of Mario Party 5. So yeah, you probably get the gist of it. So, and every once in a while though is the fact that most of these NPC characters do manage to show up for the sake of the forms of trying to able to enjoy the crowd, and even especially noticeable for enjoying the hype of, you know, most of the minigames and all that stuff though. So, and of course the next minigame is Pokey Punch-Out, and hopefully we'll start able to actually punching some more, well, Pokies obviously. And talking of which though, when it comes to like anything else I'd like to discuss, is the fact that I believe we've almost there towards the very end of October already. So even then though, hopefully we're able to actually decide able to finish this Let's Play at some point by next month, until we're able to take a break on Mario Party series from now on, until if we get into Mario Party 7 at some point by the very beginning of the year, or in this case the very beginning of next year in 2022, along with any other Let's Plays for that matter. So, but we're not going to spoil things majorly just yet though, just because, well, it's going to be a top secret. So because of that though, well, unless if you really want to look up on our channel about section, so even then though, I want to classify that, so... Yep, 500 points I managed to get, and still the highest amount you can get up to in each minigame is obviously 1000. Even though getting 1000 points on certain minigames is actually kind of impossible to me, because I know it has been donkey's years since I actually last touched this mode. Mainly it's because I'm used to with the top 100 Decathlon, despite it's actually pretty bare bones and it's easily repeatable when it comes to like replaying that particular mode. Like usually between either normal version or, dang it, wasn't paying attention. Anyway, and also the half decathlon as well. So I must have able to actually be used to that. So, oh, and by the way, for Sunday drivers, as you can see, rather than competing within time, instead we're actually going to be competing for points. So, and as you can tell, because the phone's that countdown timer as opposed to the new record timer. So, at least that's a little bit different, I suppose. But you know, similar to the ones in Mario Party 5 for the minigame Decathlon, basically it's the fact that usually certain minigames are usually time-based, and some of the other minigames are scored-based. So, yeah, that's as far as I can usually think about it. And depending on how well you do for the actual Decathlon minigames, basically it actually converts them into points. So, yeah, that's self-explanatory if you ever played, you know, minigame Decathlon before in Mario Party 5. So, and then here we go on to Throw Me a Bone minigame, and as you can see, that chain jump is going to join along, which is actually pretty cool. Especially noticeable that we're actually going to be taking a ride with the actual chain jump himself. So, yeah, that seems pretty cool though. And aside from all that mentions I was going to mention, to be honest, there's not much else I can say, apart from the fact that until tomorrow that, you know, Halloween is going to be a thing tomorrow, so because of that, though, expecting to be hyped about, you know, doing all sorts of trick-or-treating or anything else like that. So, yeah, I'd like to hear your thoughts about the forms of that Halloween stuff until tomorrow. Well, at least usually as far as I can usually try and discuss about it, or try to mention more about it. In fact, I would able to actually just replay through, or to be more specifically, I think I might as well go back onto Luigi's Mansion 3 for a bit, to able to actually experience the online play. So, I would expect you to able to do that. So, either way though, I can at least expect that. So it looks like Luigi's in second, and it looks like that, oh jeez, Wario and Waluigi are actually kind of close to each other. Oh, and by the way, if you manage to able to leave it for about 90 seconds, this means that you'll be pretty much don't get any points at all. So yeah, just like in Mario Party 5, that if your timer reaches to like 90 seconds, you don't get that much points. So, or in this case, you have no points at all. So just keep this in mind. So it looks like Luigi's gone back to second place, I say. And it looks like we're now down to 2 more minigames left, which are entirely related to battle games. So, of course, the first one is obviously Hyper Sniper. So yeah, that's as far as I can say about Decathlon Park. It's actually pretty cool to able to actually bring that minigame mode back. Especially noticeable, although despite the fact that I wasn't really great at it though, especially noticeable how the fact that usually most of the time, I always keep on having myself some low amounts of points compared to the forms of how it does it back on Mario Party 5, that I simply managed to able to dominate it the majority of it. But at least where it stands, it's that's to be expected. It's usually how it stands. So anyway, so let's go ahead and keep on shooting those 100 points little targets here, so just in case we can able to just, you know, keep in track with the actual scores amount and all that. So in this case, I've got about 1,380 points. So I was expecting if I was going to get a little bit slightly higher, but it knows what it is. So, oh, and by the way, every time whenever you finish the minigame, most of these characters can go pretty exhausted. So because of that, though, after a lot of hard work they've went through, so it knows what it stands out to be. Although, unlike in the ones in Mario Party 5 and Mario Party 7, that with those Decathlon modes, they don't get exhausted at all. So either way, though, that's how I can usually think about it. Alright, last minigame in Decathlon Park, and that is, of course, Stamped by Me. Not to be confused as the exact same song as in Stamped by Me. I don't know who actually sang that song though, even though it has been quite a few days actually since I know about the forms of certain songs as I know. So even then though, I must have been able to actually wasn't paying attention to it at all. So anyway, so let's go ahead and jeez Louise, I keep messing things up, haven't I? Especially you have to be so accurate with timing when it comes to like trying to able to stamp onto certain papers and stuff like that. Especially you have to be, you know, quite fast between these two papers as you saw on the right side of that conveyor. But anyway, And I get the feeling that Decathlon Park is, well, done. And I've got 660 points, even though it's not much in comparison, and I'm pretty sure I'm at 4,162 points, even though it's not much in comparison to Mario Party 5 run, but at least I did that pretty alright. So, yeah, that's pretty much about it for Decathlon Park, and, yeah, it's a fun mode. Even though despite the fact that I wasn't exactly amazing at it, but regardless of such though, it's still fun nonetheless. So, yeah, I think we should probably move on to the next mode, which appears to be Endurance Alley.